I'm very excited by the changing world of work. Having been a headmaster for some 15 years now, I am delighted with the fact that my pupils are looking to do different things and take different paths to different universities in Holland or the States or Italy, different sorts of universities here because they might be able to get to Oxbridge or Imperial, but they want something that they have spotted at University X, College Y, or by going out and starting their own business and then going back to university later. That is fantastic, and that has broken down that awful sheep-like behavior of only certain universities being open to boys and girls from schools such as those that you're looking at. I'm going to talk about this idea of the world of work and how a school can prepare children for the world of work by touching on just three things. First of all, I want to talk to you about what I call free learning. A few years ago, I just came up with that phrase and thought it would just go in and out of the school and be forgotten. It's just a catchphrase, but it's really taken hold. The dedication that we spend at Dulwich is almost now consistently to, we're very lucky to have bright boys, as it is at Dulwich College, and in a sense, we can take their progress towards their public exams as read. They will get, and I hate statistics, but they will, if we live up to our teaching, get 90% A*A at GCSE, that same sort of statistic at A-level. But that is not enough. The excitement of learning comes in what clubs and societies are they attending and setting up? In what are they doing in their music and their drama and their adventurous activities and their charitable work? Because it is here they are learning exactly those aptitudes, brackets, hate the word skills, those aptitudes and attitudes they are going to need for the world of work. So in our school, there's an absolute dedication to things like, next week we're going to have Dulwich Political. Fourth time in the last 4 years that we simply allow one faculty to hijack the curriculum for a week and just dedicate the week to lectures, visits from politicians, debates, competitions, internal votes, visits from every political party or persuasion or lobby group, and then the boys making up a manifesto that they will deliver at the end of the week. And that week follows on from last year's Dulwich Linguistic, the year before was Dulwich Inventive, given up to our scientist, the year before was Dulwich Creative. Networking. In a way, a bogey word, that whole sense of does it have within it, oh, you're very lucky, you have 12,000 old boys, and these 12,000 old boys, many have done very well, and you can give access to them to your 1,000 boys today. Is that unfair? Well, do you know what? It's going to happen whether we sponsor it or not. Each of us wants that for our own family, our own tribe, our own clan. The great thing about the modern world is that those families and clans and tribes are so interwoven now that if you introduce it to a certain number of people, you bet they will ask for it to be introduced beyond. And I have no hesitation in doing so. Now, what's the sort of networking? I think one of the main lessons I've learnt is don't think that if you want to introduce someone to the world of law, you bring the High Court judge to speak to them. You don't. The really important and exciting part of the world of networking today is if you bring a High Court judge in his anecdotage to speak to them, none of them believe it will be ever be them. If you bring someone, and if he and she has just gone into chambers within the last year and is talking about how excitingly terrifying it is, you get young people who look at these 24, 25-year-olds and think, that could be me. And what we're absolutely determined upon is putting together the people who've just taken their places in the world of work to meet those who will do so within the next generation. And finally, what is this thing called informatics? Now, if you were asking me what is the perfect curriculum, in my longer version of this speech, I would have said that it starts by appearing very traditional. We must never stop teaching those subjects which we have been teaching in schools. There is nothing wrong with them. Taught properly, creatively, they are still the best preparation for life in all its facets, and the world of work and the world of leisure. Know your own language, know a foreign language, have a mathematical understanding, a scientific literacy, love the humanities, engage in the creative arts, and keep yourself fit. There is nothing wrong with that. But the way learning happens has changed. Very quickly, you stop teaching IT skills because do you know what? Bright young people are ahead of you. Do you know what? That obsession with coding and programming isn't enough either. You've got to get beyond that. Yes, we'll do that. We'll introduce that from the age of 10 or 11 and Raspberry Pi competitions and masses else. But the future of understanding IT as a preparation for the world of work lives with digital citizenship. What will civil liberties, human rights mean in the internet age? The digital humanities. Find ways to force your classicists, your historians, your teachers of English into those informatics suites, those interdisciplinary suites, and using IT. And it won't surprise you from what I've said earlier, introduce digital entrepreneurship. Set up modules whereby young people can practice at their startups and go forward. Learning can be creative. Only creative learning will prepare young people for the future, but creative learning is not an add-on. It's got to be injected into every subject. That's why education must remain rounded. Thank you very much.
I'd like to just share with you some interesting insights that I took from an article in the Washington Post a few months ago, and I quote, "A 2013 study from Oxford University predicts the future technology could displace nearly half of American jobs. Even jobs in finance and law and medicine don't offer the same steady career paths they once did. History has shown such predictions to be wildly exaggerated, of course. In the long race, perhaps between education and technology, education typically wins. But past performance might not be indicative of future results in this next wave of automation, and perhaps even those with higher skilled jobs might not be safe. Education must be relevant for the fifth job, not just the first. Policymakers are paring back the liberal arts that supply students with problem-solving abilities and communication skills critical to the workforce of the future. The jobs that are growing the most are those that require high social skills as well as analytical skills, according to David Deming, Professor of Economics and Education at Harvard. Now, that is a powerful and very relevant piece of writing, I feel, and it's something actually that Sir Nicholas Sirota, the head of the Arts Council, echoed in his article in the Times last week. It highlights the importance of a broad, rounded education, where a wide range of experience and opportunity develops those intellectual, creative, and physical skills or aptitudes. And it also provides the confidence and the adaptability to use those in an effective sense. Academic ability has been increasingly focused in a formal sense on exam results, and where failure leads there is not an option. Successive governments measure their academic performance in a quantitative sense, and I think that prolonged overemphasis on the diversion of resources to a single area has had a detrimental effect on the wider aspects which are critical to young people's development. That narrow approach to education is the complete opposite to what Google, one of the world's largest and most successful companies, apply when in their own sort of recruitment approach. They don't simply recruit because of degrees. They look for leadership. They look for an ongoing commitment to learning. They look for flexibility, the ability to solve problems and to think creatively and critically. Now, I certainly wouldn't deny that at Canford, at Dulwich and at other places too, other fine schools, we do focus on exam results. That is part of the system which we have to engage with, and indeed we are proud of those fantastic results that our pupils achieve and the doors that they open. Exams do have a real value in an intellectual sense, but as part of a balanced education. And that balance is critical, and it requires a rounded education. And I think one of the major reasons that independent schools are so successful is because they do devote, and they have significant resources to devote, to the development of the whole child. The seeds of creativity sit inside all of us, inside everyone. And the best way to nurture and to nourish those seeds, enable them to grow, is through a rounded education. That creativity should be encouraged. It should be promoted and celebrated by society, and certainly within our schools. And we must and absolutely provide the wherewithal, I feel, to provide that wide range of opportunities to do that. Because creative people invent, they problem solve, they discuss and communicate things in fresh and exciting ways. And we don't want this to be lost in those school years. We aim to produce the very best possible outcomes for our pupils through high-quality academic and intellectual endeavour and achievement, but also by developing their character so they can tackle what is an ever-changing landscape in life with confidence, creativity and flexibility. Whatever the industry, whether it's medical science, engineering, academic research, teaching, technology, business and finance, entrepreneurship, many more, they all require creative and confident people to ensure progress and achievement. And those creative and confident people emerge from foundations laid by a well-rounded education. As the American actor Danny Kaye said, life is one great big canvas. Get out there and throw all the paint that you can on it. And a well-rounded education aims to do just that, whatever path or specialism an individual may follow at any stage of their life. Thank you very much indeed.